I want to address, somebody was saying, you know, because I was asking about the channel, etc., and somebody said, well, why did you start it to begin with? Maybe you should go back to why you started it to begin with and, you know, find your joy with it. Well, I can tell you the whole progression. For those that don't know, most of my life was spiritual path. And I went to India and completed my path in 1999. And from that point, the guru I had told me it was time for me to be a guru, go out and give what I could give. So I did that. I started, was a Yahoo, I think it's Yahoo Groups. So I gave, you know, I've written the books and gave as much as I could. Then that had closed down. They closed down the Yahoo Groups and they went to the YouTube. So I do have the YouTube channel, Guru Swami Ji. That's all spiritual things. Now, most of it, I also opened an online ashram for those going through Kundalini experiences to aid them, because you really have to understand how to be balanced, how to be grounded going through that. So I do have that. So, you know, I gave as much as I could give on that channel as well. And I came to the point where I said, really, I've covered every topic there is. There's nothing left more to give there. So on that note, I decided, well, I'd do something fun. Let me do some tarot. So I came over and I started the tarot channel. Now, I did not start Tarot Channel to do political stuff, but that's where it went. That's what everybody wanted to hear about. So I got kind of stuck in the quagmire of political stuff. Now, I am not a person that's always been into politics. Absolutely not. Never in my life. Until Trump came on the scene and I saw how toxic he is. Okay? But that's what happened. I started the channel to do something fun. But like I said, I got stuck in the quagmire of politics. And because that's what everybody wanted to know about. They needed to have some balance, some groundedness going through this. So it's wound up being, you know, it's a benefit to people, but it's not fun. You know, it's not, it's not fun reading about politics and somebody like Trump all the time. Now, I'm hoping that once the elections are done, we get Kamala in here, then the political thing maybe will die down, you know, because people will not be so on edge with stuff at that point. So anyway, that's what happened. This was not something that I started with the intention to go into political reads, okay? Wasn't. But again, that's where the thing, you know, you just go where it leads, and that's what was needed, and so that's where I wound up. Okay? And so then I'm starting the other channel of some of my Prius things. I have the other channel, Prius Adventures. I think it's what, Prius Adventures with G, Bark, and Wine. So on that channel, I don't have many people yet. And again, like I said, my channel, I just do the video as it's happening. I don't clean it up. I don't manufacture it. I'm not out there, you know, putting a camera out so you see the car coming and then putting it behind you see me walking and, you know, doing all that editing and making it into a movie. So my channels don't get as many views. People want, I guess, they really want the manufactured thing. And I'm just not into it. It's not about trying to make this fully my livelihood, let's put it that way. And I would like to do some other things. Now, people have said, why don't I do collabs? Why don't I have people on my channel? Because I'm just not good with the technology. And I don't come up with all the questions for it. You need to have a whole list of questions if you have a collab with somebody. And people don't understand that you come to the place when my path finished, your mind goes into stillness. You don't have a revolving thoughts going all the time. So for me to come up with all of these questions, I just simply don't. And I'm not on the net following like Hogarth and Lena. They're following politics around the globe and different events and things that are going on around the globe. I don't do that. So when I'm going in and doing reads on Hogalees, I'm always doing a cold read because the people and the things they're talking about, I have no idea about. Okay? I don't keep up with current events around the world. I'm mainly in a still place. Quietude. So that's it. I think that, you know, when you go through the path that I went and you reach what's called realization, there's a huge shift that happens and you go into a quiet space. And all of the revolving thought processes that people have, you don't have that anymore. And it's, at first, it's very hard to get into nominal conversations because it seems so, I don't want to say mundane. It's not mundane to the people that are going through it, but when you've gone past that element, it's kind of, you don't want to sit there and talk about the weather, the kids and all this other stuff that's going on because it just doesn't have relevance in your world any longer. So it's a different space that you're in mentally and things. So that's just the way it is. And it's hard to talk about it with people because they're not going to understand it. It's not in their reality. It's not something they have experienced. So to talk about it too much, it doesn't help anything. You try to explain to people what it's like to be in silence all the time. It's like being in a meditation state all the time because there are no random thoughts coming and going ever any longer. Doesn't happen. So again, that's why it's difficult on the channel and things for me to come up with all the questions and things that you have to do a collab with somebody else. It's not in my world and wheelhouse any longer. And the spiritual channel I had, most of the people would not understand it either because it was mainly dealing with Kundalini and those energies and that type of a path. So you know, if I talk about Advaita versus Dvaita. Dvaita is the divisionary world. Advaita is when one's gone beyond the divisionary world. Again, people wouldn't understand it. And it took a good 10 years to be able to come back from this very expanded state to being very grounded and being able to deal with people on the level of, I don't want to say normalcy, but what's normal for most people, okay? Because when everything blows, it calls blown out, and it does, everything blows out, then that it's for a good 10 years very expanded, okay? There's a big bliss that happens for 10 years, and then you have to try to, again, ground and come back to being able to speak. You know, when everything first blows out, you can't even speak this way. You can't say I because there's no feeling of an I form there any longer. So again, it takes quite a few years to be able to ground, to be able to say me, my, I, and that type of thing again. And it's not that you're trying to be higher than anybody else. It's not that. It just is not relevant any longer. So it takes a while to be able to ground enough again to be able to carry on those types of conversations, etc. Okay, it's been a different life path than most people have, and so I don't talk about it a lot because, again, people don't understand it. They think you're making something up, or what is it that people would say? Oh, why are you talking if you're in silence, whatever? I said, what do you think? You're just going to sit on a rock and stare at your navel? What? That life doesn't go on? Life goes on. Okay, life goes on. And you know that the body's a vehicle. It's not what you are. You are something that uses this vehicle to experience things on this plane of existence. But this is not who you are. You are not the body. Okay? Now, when I was in India and things were expanding, sometimes you're in your body and sometimes you're out of your body. And every time I would go across the Ganges, I would be like out of my body, and the body was like a puppet and you're trying to maneuver it. It was a very odd experience. But these things happen, and that's it. So sometimes I come at things in a little different way. That's all. But I try to be really relevant with people. And I understand that people are very worried. And they get so caught up in the mind and emotion stuff. So that's why I try to, continue to do the political reads, but do it in a balanced, sane manner. And know that this too will pass. This too will pass. Whatever you're going through, this is, part of the journey, but it's going to pass. It's not going to be here forever. So that's what's going on. My joy at the Tarot channel, starting it, rather than being on my other channel, was Guru Swamiji, was, again, I've written the books. I've given as much information as I could give there. I really covered every topic. I don't think there's another topic to cover with it. So I wanted to do something, something fun, something not so heavy. But then I got drug into the political stuff. And hopefully, like I said, in November, once we've had the election and Kamala is president, then things will get better. Now, it's not going to get better right away, because you know that the Repugly Uglies are going to come up with it's stolen, it's a bad election. You know that they're going to be doing that drama for a while. But they're not going to be successful with it, and eventually it will die down. So that's what's going on with the channel, and why I started the Tarot channel. I wanted to do something lighter for a while. Because being a guru is not light. People don't understand that, but when there's a connection to your sadhakas, the students, you are holding their energy in a way, and you have to keep it grounded and expanded and things. Now, students could tell you when they're in the presence, my presence, or their mind stills. It'll still. It's something that takes place. It's not something you are, sitting there trying to make it happen. It just is. They come into that field of energy, and there's a shift that takes place. It just is what is. So again, that's something that happens. So on that note, I'm just going to leave that here for now. But I wanted to address, because somebody said, well, why did you start the channel in the first place? Go back to your joy, why you did it. Yeah. Thanks for tuning in. Much love and light to everyone out there, and we'll see you online.